listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, coming to you on Wednesday, October the 15th, 2025. Or as I'm assuming many of you probably can surmise or guess that when I record these intros, I'm usually recording it like a day or two before the episode actually drops. The episode is expected to be releasing on Wednesday the 15th. I'm actually recording this Monday the 13th, just after watching a thrilling Dodger victory over the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Championship Series Game 1, and I survived my near heart attack. Oh my gosh, yeah, it's a very high anxiety watching that game, especially like the last inning, the ninth inning. And speaking of, our subject of a conversation this week, the 40th anniversary of the Nintendo Entertainment System. I've seen those YouTube clips of like someone doing like a modded version of Super Mario Brothers where Mario's jumping through like tons of chains, those fire chains. Just watching that makes me just super like, oh, really like a high anxiety, and they got that same feeling watching that Dodger game. And then we'll see what happens on Tuesday night. I mean, when you get this recording, we'll know what happens if the series is 2-0 Dodgers or if it's tied by Milwaukee. I mean, I might be in for another heart attack. But yes, I'm excited for this week's topic of conversation. We're discussing the Nintendo Entertainment System's 40th anniversary, and coming on the show, returning to the show, good friend of the show, and of course a huge gaming fanatic. It's Nathan Wolfe. So we go over the vast, amazing history of Nintendo. Did you know that the Nintendo has been a company for over 100 years? That's so fascinating to me. It's only been in recent years, like maybe in the last like 3 or 4 years, that I found that out, and I should have known that all this time, being a huge Nintendo fan. But yeah, we go over the incredible history of Nintendo as a company, the development of the NES, and huge gamble and risk it was for Nintendo to re-enter the home gaming market in North America, but obviously it paid off in spades. I mean, the Nintendo was an instant classic and remains to this day probably one of the most cherished gaming devices ever created. So Nathan and I talk about that. We talk about our 10 favorite NES games too. This is an amazing, fun podcast. This is definitely one of my best episodes, I feel, going down memory lane and going back and cherishing all these wonderful memories from the late 80s into the early 90s and how much I love playing Nintendo games. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. This is the 40th anniversary of the Nintendo Entertainment System with Nathan Wolfe here on the Casting for Fun podcast. Oh, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Next week, my brother Danny will be returning to the show, and maybe a few guests too, maybe some surprise guests, we'll see. But we're going to be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Linkin Park's debut album, Hybrid Theory. So stay tuned for that. Well, anyways, let's jump into some Nintendo talk here on the show. Welcome back to the show, Nathan Wolfe. Nathan, how are you doing tonight, my friend?
Doing great. Very excited for tonight's topic. So
this is going to be probably maybe all due respect to everything we've talked about, this may be our best topic yet.
Yeah, it's something I'm very passionate about. So
absolutely, yes. So we're celebrating the 40th anniversary of the North American launch of the NES. I guess maybe it's easier to say it that way. The 40th anniversary of the Nintendo Entertainment System. Technically, the Famicom, the Japanese version, had existed for a few years prior. So, but very excited to dive into this fascinating history of Nintendo as a company as well, because like in recent years, I've learned a lot of new things about the company I had no idea about.
Oh, nice. They're a lot of people just think of them as, video game company, but they've been around for a long time, as I'm sure we'll get into. But yeah, I just a little background. I did a report on Nintendo in high school, junior year, because there's a book called Game Over,
Mhm.
which it talks about the history of Nintendo up to, I think, leading up to the Nintendo 64. So it's everything to that point and prior. So it's pretty interesting.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I do believe you had mentioned that previously on the show. I want to say probably when we talked about the Super Mario Brothers movie. So, yeah,
Oh yeah,
definitely excited to get your insights and also to make sure that the information I research is in fact correct. So,
yeah. I mean, I haven't read the book since high school, so a lot of this is going off memory, and so it'd be good to a good refresher. So I'm sure your information's great. So
oh, very cool. Yeah. So, I mean, I always scour the internet when I'm ever doing research for topics like this. I came across a YouTube channel it's called the Chronicles of Gaming. So I guess they cover everything. So, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Sega, everything. And
okay.
they do a really cool, it's almost like 45 minutes long, detailed account of the history of the Nintendo company leading up to the end of the NES. So I mean, we will touch on just a few aspects of Nintendo history that I wanted to go over with you, but then of course I also want to go over our list of our 10 favorite NES games. And we were compiling our list earlier in the week. We initially said five, but then I told you I can't do just five. I had to do more. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to go over our list
I
together.
and I'm fine doing, the more the merrier. I mean, I could do a top 20 or 50, but that would take a little too long, so we'll
Okay,
keep it
so
at 10.
yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it. So let me go ahead and share this a few clips from this YouTube video called "The Chronicles of Gaming," covering the early history of Nintendo, starting with the early formation, dating back to the later part of the 19th century. I had no idea Nintendo was that old. It was only maybe in recent years that I found that out. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
okay, let's go ahead and dive into it here.
Founded by Fusajiro Yamauchi in 1889, Nintendo sold handcrafted karuta, or Japanese playing cards. He was a skilled craftsman who handmade his hanafuda, or flower cards, by pounding the bark of trees into a paste and adding clay. These cards became the most popular cards in the Kyoto region and were sold in the Kanto region as well. Business boomed when the Yakuza decided to start gambling with the hanafuda, and in 1907, Yamauchi expanded his business into becoming the first Japanese manufacturer of Western trading cards as well. By 1929, Nintendo had become the largest Japanese playing card company, and Yamauchi was ready to retire. His son-in-law, Sekiryo Kaneda, became the second president of Nintendo, bringing with him a passion for real estate. He worked to expand the profitability of the business by adding assembly line workers and ruling with a notoriously iron fist. Sekiryo Kaneda, now named Sekiryo Yamauchi, had his son-in-law who was positioned to take over Nintendo. However, in 1932 he ran away from his family, leaving both his wife and his child, who had been born in 1927, Hiroshi Yamauchi. With no father to help care for him, Hiroshi was raised by his grandparents, who raised him as strictly as they ran Nintendo. And at the young age of just 21, Sekiryo Yamauchi had a stroke and pulled Hiroshi out of school, naming him the head of Nintendo in 1949. Hiroshi Yamauchi brought a number of reforms with him, to the dismay of Nintendo's employees, who were already resentful of his young age. He fired every manager from when Sekiryo Yamauchi was head of the company, so there would be no one left to question his authority. From there, he changed the name of the company to Nintendo Karuta, and the changes ensued. In 1959, he made Nintendo's first licensing deal with Disney in order to make playing cards with Disney's characters on them. He then worked to get Nintendo cards into larger department and toy stores to immediate success. In spite of this success, Yamauchi wanted the company to expand even more and felt limited by the trading card niche Nintendo had carved out. He changed the company name once again to NCL, or Nintendo Company Limited, and took Nintendo public in order to finance a series of new ventures. The first was packaged instant rice, and a failure. His next was in opening a love hotel, to which he was rumored to be his own best customer, despite being married. Finally, he attempted a taxi company to some success, before finally ending both this and the love hotel, deciding to focus on Nintendo's roots: entertainment.
Yeah, lots of fascinating stuff there. I mean, it's so incredible to think that it dates back to like the later part of the 19th century. So before the turn of the century, manufacturing playing cards. And I guess they went through a unique technique to create them, right? Grounding like wood into paste in order to shape them up.
Yeah, that's I don't remember reading about that, so that's very interesting to me. But yeah, it seems like a very I think it was founded in 1895. I can't remember if they mentioned that video
Yeah.
or not, but yeah, maybe it was cheaper than printing on paper, or I mean, because print was invented by then, right? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it was cheaper, or they could sell it at a higher rate since it's all handmade and made it with special technique and everything. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. I actually have some Hanafuda cards. I mean, they've reprinted some over the years, and I have some Nintendo ones that I got from Club Nintendo, which was it's like where you could get physical rewards for buying Nintendo products. So I have some. I don't know how to play the game, but I've always wanted to learn. But
Oh, it's really cool. Yeah. Yeah. And then we also learned from that video that at one point in the late 50s, they had a licensing deal with Disney. They were actually publishing Disney trading cards at the time, too, which was also fascinating to learn. So I like what it mentioned at the very end of that clip, that Nintendo's roots has always been about entertainment. So whatever how we can get entertainment to the people is how they want to make their business. I mean, true, they tried some other business ventures, which was kind of interesting, too, like, instant rice, a love hotel, even a taxi service. But ultimately, Nintendo at its core, it's an entertainment company.
yeah, I forgot about the Love Hotel and the Taxi. I remember, the book I reading about that, but I kind of forgot about that until the video we just watched. So yeah, it's just, I mean, that's a lot of companies. They try different things. There's usually some failures, but yeah, it's just you want to associate Nintendo we know today with Love Hotels. So
Yeah. But yeah, so it's interesting that again the video goes into more detail about it. But again, as they wanted to really branch into the United States market, and of course, video games was becoming popular in the late 60s, early 70s. We were getting the early primitive development of gaming, and of course, Nintendo wanted to jump into that too. So the video talks about it a little bit more, and even talks about the early struggles that they had until they were able to hire gaming legend Shigeru Miyamoto, who's probably the GOAT when it comes to video development, really, video game development. So let's go ahead and dive into this video a little bit more.
Orders for the range were canceled, and Nintendo was suddenly on the brink of collapse. Looking for the next big thing, Yamauchi grew interested in the new industry of video games growing in America. He attempted to negotiate a license to manufacture the Magnavox Odyssey in Japan, however, was unsuccessful. From there, Nintendo partnered with Mitsubishi in order to create the Color Game TV6 and Color Game TV15. Both were mildly successful and allowed Nintendo to stay afloat. Meanwhile, in 1977, Yamauchi received a request from an old friend to meet with his son. His son had just graduated from college with a degree in industrial design and was an artist. Yamauchi told his friend, "We need engineers, not painters." But, as a favor to his friend, met with the son anyways. This son's name was Shigeru Miyamoto. Despite not needing an artist, Yamauchi was impressed by Miyamoto's ingenuity and created a position for him as the company's first staffed artist. However, his big break wouldn't come until 1980. It was in 1980 when Hiroshi Yamauchi's son-in-law, Minoru Arakawa, finally buckled and accepted a job from his father-in-law to work for Nintendo, but to only minimal success. The game that was meant to turn around the company? An arcade game by the name of Radar Scope. Arakawa had tested it in sites around Seattle to positive results, so he decided to place an order for 3,000 units, which was just about all Nintendo of America could afford at the time. And the gamble failed. Despite the positive test results, by the time the 3,000 units were shipped, all interest in the game had been lost. Arakawa lowered the price, yet they were only able to sell 1,000 units, and Nintendo of America was flopping fast. Arakawa moved the headquarters from New York to Seattle in order to be closer to Japan and called his father-in-law for help. They needed something to replace Radar Scope and one of Nintendo's best designers to create something amazing that could save the American operation. But all of Yamauchi's top designers were too tied up, so he decided to give an apprentice a chance, Shigeru Miyamoto. Yamauchi pulled Miyamoto into his office and asked him to convert the Radar Scope flop into something new. Overseen by Gunpei Yokoi, Miyamoto decided that the popular shooting games of the day were unimaginative and wanted to create something different. Given free reign, with Yokoi making sure everything worked given the technical limitations of arcades, Miyamoto created Donkey Kong and his iconic hero Jumpman. Jumpman was designed based on the technical limitations of the era. He was given a large nose to give him personality, a hat because hair was difficult to properly animate, brightly visible overall so he could be seen on screen, and a mustache to help exaggerate the nose. Donkey Kong was shipped to the American team of Nintendo to the disbelief of the team. After turning on the game and first seeing it, Al Stone commented, "It's over," walking out thinking Nintendo of America was finished. Back in Japan, Yamauchi ignored the criticism, telling them it was a great game. In the midst of translating Donkey Kong, the owner of the warehouse they were working in interrupted them to yell at Arakawa for being late in paying their rent. His name was Mario Segali, and thus, Super Mario was born. Donkey Kong ended up selling over 60,000 units to the tune of over $100 million in sales. Howard Lincoln worked on more and more contracts for the company. Donkey Kong was licensed out to Coleco in 1981, who gained the rights to Donkey Kong for a video game system and their ColecoVision. Meanwhile, Atari gained the floppy disk computer game rights. It was sunshine and rainbows for Nintendo.
Yeah, so fascinating to learn that the president of Nintendo at the time, back in whatever year it was, I think 77, as a favor to his friend said, "Hey, I want you to give my son a job." And, just kind of begrudgingly did it that, hey, we need engineers, not artists. But as it turns out, Shigeru Miyamoto would change the industry. I don't know if anyone could have ever predicted that, right?
Yeah, it's really crazy that it all kind of stemmed from that. He could have just been like, "No, I'm not hiring him, sorry." And then Nintendo, who knows what Nintendo would have turned out to be now. Probably not, the company it's known for, or, known as today. So, yeah, it's just really crazy that small chance turned the company into something so major. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then the origins of Mario is so fascinating to learn that too, that they wanted distinct features like, the protruding nose, the overalls, everything about it needed to just have Mario have his personality. And then I think most fans are aware that the warehouse owner or manager was the inspiration for the Mario name, where he was yelling at them to pay the rent.
Yeah. That's really awesome.
Funny. Yeah, very cool. So good stuff. So again, that's just a brilliant, amazing game for its time. The video goes into a little more detail. We won't touch on it too much now, but it was interesting also to learn that Nintendo faced a major lawsuit from MGM Universal, for allegedly infringing on the copyrights of King Kong, which the video goes into detail that technically Universal didn't actually have it, or I guess it was in the public domain because it was such an old character. So that is kind of fascinating too.
Yeah, and I don't know if they talked about this, but the lawyer that helped them win that lawsuit, I can't remember if his last name was Kirby.
Oh, John Kirby.
John Kirby, and that's the Kirby Nintendo character was named after him. So. Yeah,
that was pretty cool. I think Nintendo was very grateful for this particular lawyer saying, "Hey, you guys don't even have a case." So, he was able to help them get this settled with no problems or complications. And as a thank you, hey, you get to be named after one of our iconic characters now. So,
yeah. So.
Well, very cool. So yeah, now I want to dive into the early development of the Famicom. So again, the NES in Japan, which again ultimately leads to the development of the NES in America. So let's go ahead and dive into a little bit more of this video.
Meanwhile, in R&D 1, Gunpei Yokoi would come up with the Game & Watch in 1980, a major hit bringing in millions for the company. In 1982, in working on a port for Donkey Kong for the Game & Watch, Yokoi devised the D-pad, which was so popular, Nintendo ended up patenting it. With the success of the Color Game TV 6 and 15, as well as Game & Watch, Yamauchi wanted to compete in the big leagues. He tasked Uemura with creating a console that could not just compete with the Atari 2600 in television and more, but be so far advanced that other companies couldn't copy their specs for at least a year. Uemura toiled away to the sound of 18-hour days, working with Nintendo's arcade engineers in order to determine what was most important to include in a game machine. While 16-bit processors were available, they were far too expensive for a consumer market, so he settled on an 8-bit processor. He and his team then worked day and night with engineers and programmers, modifying circuitry in order to create something truly special. Meanwhile, Yamauchi was busy negotiating the price of chips from semiconductor companies, trying to get the cheapest prices and quickest results. He was shot down by almost every company until he struck a deal with Ricoh by guaranteeing a 3 million chip order within 2 years. People thought he was insane, as leading game console manufacturers in Japan were only selling 20 to 30,000 units of their consoles. However, in order to get his deal, he stuck to his guns. They decided to leave out all peripherals, such as a keyboard, in order to save on costs. However, Yamauchi had the team include a connector that could lead to expansions on their new system. Yamauchi himself made the final decisions for how the system would look and feel, deciding on a more simplistic controller as opposed to the more elaborate ones which had been trending. They decided to use the D-pad from the Game & Watch titles instead of the standard joystick of the time, and 2 main buttons. Clean and simple. And with that, in 1983, Nintendo's first full-fledged video game system was released to Japan, the Nintendo Famicom.
Yeah, lots of interesting stuff with that too. So I mean, we saw again also we learned from this the early development of their gaming really was in handheld. I mean, that's something that Nintendo's just dominated at ever since they launched the Game Boy. But yeah, to learn about the history of Game and Watch was really cool because like I remember playing Super Smash Brothers Melee with my brother for the GameCube way back in 2001 when it was launched. Yeah, and having no idea who Game and Watch was, but I mean, again, they're an important part of Nintendo's history as well. The early development of those handheld games, and also the development of the D-pad, which would again revolutionize gaming as we know it.
Yeah, I mean the D-pad, it's still on controllers to this day. I mean they're not as kind of the sharp-edged, kind of blocky as the Nintendo and Famicom. They've gotten a little bit more comfortable over the years, but yeah, it's just insane to think that it was all joysticks and kind of weird 9 like almost telephone type buttons and things like that. It's just and that them bringing it from like very complicated back to basics of like BA button, a D-pad, and that's a pause button. But just bringing it back to basics was so revolutionary at the time, and just the concept of a D-pad was just so inspiring. So it's just really awesome to see that something created in 1983 is still being used to this day in 2025.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And it is also fascinating to learn that, I mean, even back then in like the early 80s, 83, when it came out, that technically the 16-bit processor was available, but obviously they wanted to have the console be as like cost effective as possible. So, I mean, the peripherals weren't really developed. It was just basically back to basics, simple, like you suggested. But it was fascinating to learn that we can do so much with just the 8-bit processor, which again helped us, the consumer, be able to buy a more affordable, or at least for Japan. I mean, we're going to get to the launch of the NES in just a minute for the US, but that was interesting to learn, I feel.
Yeah, it's funny how there's more advanced technology than is available, but it's kind of like, well, it costs some X amount of dollars. Is anyone going to buy it for that crazy amount of price? Probably not. So we got to use older technology to to sell to the public so that they can afford it. Because yeah, like you said, they had the 16-bit technology, but they switched over to 8-bit to make it sellable to everyone.
Yeah. So we see, things are going, really well in Japan, but of course, at the same time, there was a huge struggle for the gaming industry in the United States. Are you familiar with the gaming crash of the Atari 2600? That's
Yes.
sort of a story. Oh, okay. I imagine most gamers probably are. That conversation could be a whole other podcast in and of itself. But just to clue the listeners in, basically, so the way I understand it, you can correct me if I'm mistaken, Nathan, is that the Atari was allowing a lot of third party publishers to publish games, and they were of such poor, horrible quality that people just weren't buying it. I mean, nobody cared about console gamings in your home. I mean, arcade games were more popular back then, right?
Yeah, it was like oversaturation and of bad to mediocre games, and there was no like, you know, check system to like, oh, let's see if this game is, even fun or good enough to sell. You'd see all sorts of, uh, you know, the notorious ET game. I'm sure might know about, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
one guy was put in charge of creating an ET game to come out with the movie coming out, and he basically, was given a deadline. He didn't really finish it, and they published tons of copies because they're thinking like, oh, ET's gonna be huge, Steven Spielberg movie, and then they were left with, I think, like millions of copies that just didn't sell because it's a horrible game. It's kind of notorious now, but yeah, just a lot of licensed games that were just not good, and it's just huge oversaturation of bad games that people got sick of. They're wasting it. Like, they spend $50 buy a game, it's horrible, and then people got sick of wasting their money. So
Hmm.
it just led to the downfall of the video game market.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was the urban legend that was, I guess, proven to be true, that there was actually a landfill in somewhere in New Mexico where all these unsold copies of the game were buried. And I guess
Yep.
they sure enough went and dig it up, and they found like several thousand, right?
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, it was like 2019 or something. They
Yeah.
they dug it up, I think. So
Yeah, so crazy. So Nintendo was definitely facing an uphill battle to try and reestablish home consoles in the US market, but like, obviously they really wanted to break it big in the US to do it. So let's go ahead and dive into the last part of the video that I wanted to share, that kind of talks about the development of the NES here in North America, which ultimately leads to us loving gaming to this day now. So let's go ahead and dive into that.
Still, Yamauchi wanted to bring the Famicom to America, but a lot had happened, namely the infamous gaming crash of 1983. Between Atari 2600's overabundance of poor games and the release of the dismal Pac-Man adaptation, as well as E.T., sales had gone to an all-time low. So much so, distributors were refusing to even carry video game consoles in their stores or attempt to sell them in any fashion. Arakawa felt there had to be a way to get stores to carry the Famicom. He decided not to market it as a toy, both due to the unadvantageous distribution standards of selling a toy and to separate Nintendo from other video game consoles. Peripherals for the American Famicom, such as a keyboard and zapper light gun, were designed by NCL, and the system would be called the Advanced Video System, or AVS for short. In order to avoid horrible counterfeit and third-party games flooding the market for the AVS, as had happened to the Atari 2600, which in turn crashed the market, NCL created a security chip for the AVS where only Nintendo cartridges would have the key that would allow the AVS to play the game. Don James and Howard Phillips of Nintendo played hundreds of Japanese Famicom games to help Arakawa determine the 40 best which would be translated to English. Finally, the AVS was ready, and in January 1985, James, Phillips, Howard Lincoln, and Arakawa unveiled the system at CES January 1985, and no one would buy it. Those who stopped by thought kids would hate the keyboard, disliked most of the other peripherals, and were still terrified just to purchase anything after Atari 2600 has sunk so bad. With these perceptions in hand, Arakawa decided to scrap the learning elements on the AVS and focus on fun. Gunpei Yokoi's R&D team developed the ROB, or Robotic Operating Buddy, in order to help sell the system. Instead of loading cartridges from the top, the AVS would load cartridges from the side and was then made to be much simpler. This new version was dubbed the Nintendo Entertainment System by Arakawa, or the NES. And at CES June 1985, the NES was revealed to the world to still not great results. The reaction was better as buyers liked Rob, but they still didn't want to actually order any. Arakawa decided to create a focus group of kids to showcase how great the system was, and in observing them from behind a one-way mirror, overheard the standard comment of, "This is..." Arakawa was ready to give up, but Yamauchi refused, telling Arakawa, "Try to sell the system in one American city. Then, if it fails, it fails." Arakawa was given a budget of $50 million, and the city was chosen, New York City. Sam Borofsky Associated Limited of New York was appointed to be the system's sales representatives. Initially, the NES was set to retail for $170. However, Sam Borofsky pointed out the Commodore 64 computer was retailing for $150 due to low sales, and the NES would have to compete with that. The price point was dropped to $140. In summer 1985, Arakawa rented a warehouse in Hackensack, New Jersey, and both Nintendo of America and Japan employees were flown in. Howard Lincoln and Arakawa made calls with retailers, while Ron Judy worked on advertising campaigns and promotion. They went to shopping malls to set up demonstrations of their systems, and paid athletes to do the demonstrations in order to get mall managers to agree to it. The full team went in person to push the console, visiting toy stores, electronic retailers, and department stores. They pushed for various chains to carry the system, mostly meeting with criticism. Finally, Arakawa came to a decision. Nintendo would make carrying the NES completely risk-free. They offered to stock stores and set up displays for free, and after 90 days, stores would only need to pay Nintendo for what they had sold and could return the rest. You see, typically, stores take the risk by ordering a certain amount of product and paying wholesale for it, regardless of how well their purchases sell. So, Nintendo's risk-free proposition finally got store owners to bite. The NES launched in October, with Rob becoming the focus of Nintendo's ads. Working 18-hour days, 7 days a week, for 3 months, Nintendo employees worked.
Yeah, so as we previously mentioned, I mean, it was a huge gamble on the part of Nintendo to reintroduce console gaming to the American public. And, they went through several, decisions that would make good business sense. They say, okay, let's go ahead and do it only in one specific market, choose a major market, and see if we can find success there. That market obviously being New York. And then, of course, the not selling it or not having the retail stores buy them wholesale, but just giving them to the stores, and you only pay us for the ones you actually sell. So again, it makes it enticing, I guess, for electronic stores to actually want to carry the Nintendo Entertainment System, because they won't have to worry so much about whether or not it flops or not.
Yeah, and it's also interesting with that is they're taking such big risk, and they had such high hopes for the Nintendo that they were putting kind of all their eggs in this basket and hoping it would work out with the deal with department stores and everything that you mentioned of not pay, only paying what they sell. That's quite a gamble, because setting up the display, like all this costs money up front, and they just didn't know if it was going to pan out or not. Obviously they're hoping for the best, and thankfully for them, it did pay out. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So October 18, 1985 is the day that it launched in the New York area. It would launch in other areas. So for us in Los Angeles, I think February in 86, and other major markets throughout the country, finally with a full North American launch on September 27, 1986. And it was definitely a rousing success for the company. I mean, in its lifetime, it sold 61 million copies until it was discontinued in 1995. It was their best-selling console until the Wii actually surpassed it, which was kind of fascinating to learn too. So it was definitely a rousing success, and we've enjoyed gaming ever since because of the gambles that Nintendo took in order to launch it here in North America.
Yeah, and it's really cool. I'll just touch on a little bit because I still have mine, but so our Nintendo broke that we had when we were kids, and I think it was like 1993. I want to say it came out. They redesigned the Nintendo. They call it the top loader.
Mm-hmm.
I got that for Christmas that year, and I still have it. Still works.
Oh, awesome.
It's kind of like more like a Super Nintendo where it loads from the top. It doesn't have an eject button like the Super Nintendo, but it has switches instead of the buttons you press, and you don't have to like push it in and push down. Kind of like it's kind of like a sideways toaster before, but I still have it, and it's one of my favorite things that I own. So.
Oh, very cool. So kind of a random question that I want to ask, but it is related to Nintendo. So I mean, I never actually played that version of the NES design, but my understanding was that would fix a lot of the problems where you if you plug it in, you wouldn't have that issue where it just wouldn't play, right? Because for the longest time, people had that urban legend like, okay, if you blow into a cartridge, that would make it work. Obviously, that was false. That didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, the connector pins were a lot better
Okay.
because they just, went straight down and you got to press it and, it kind of got to connect better where before you're jamming in sideways. So if you're like not exactly, you know, completely horizontal, you could go at an angle and then that kind of bends the pins so that they don't have as tight of a, snug to
Okay.
connect to the cartridge. Um, but yeah, no, it works fairly well. I just have to clean, whatever game because over 4 years. I know we said that at the beginning, but 4 years is a long time.
Oh yeah.
Yes, some of the games are 35, 40 years old and they get dirty, so you have to. I use Windex to clean my games. Yeah, so I don't blow in games unless it's the reason would work after you blew in it because you have spit, when you blow,
Mhm.
and then get the connectors kind of wet, and that would help make a better connection. That was the secret behind blowing in cartridges.
Oh,
So,
very cool. Yeah, I
but if
definitely
you
spent yeah
but if
many
you
years.
clean it with Windex, it gets the dirt off so that the pins connect to the cartridge better. So.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I definitely spent many years of my childhood blowing into the cartridges to make sure they would work. Or technically, they I guess they prefer the term game pack, but basically, yeah. So many fond memories playing the NES in the late '80s into the early '90s before we got the Super Nintendo. Yeah, so it was so much fun to sit down, Nathan, and come out with my list of my favorite games because again, all Nintendo games were so much fun, such a blast to play. So this was so fun for me to actually go back and reflect on these old games, some of them which I haven't played in many years, and determine which ones were actually my favorite. So
Oh, awesome! I'm looking forward to it.
very cool. Okay, so I guess we can go back and forth, like reeling your number 10 all the way down to number one. Very
Sure.
subjective list. Everyone who's played Nintendo games could probably come up with their own list. So, for those listening, I definitely would love to hear your thoughts. What were your favorite NES games? But we'll go ahead and down our list and talk about each game as much as we want. So,
Do you want me to start, or do you want to
yeah,
start?
if you want to go ahead and start with your number 10, and then we'll see
Okay.
how many we share in common. I think there might be a few.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few. I have some kind of more. I mean, I say obscure, but I mean some obscure ones. But number 10 is ice hockey. I don't know if you ever played that.
I have, yeah, yeah.
I love ice hockey on the Nintendo. I'm not a big sports game guy, but um, just played that a lot with friends and my brothers growing up. It's very simple. You get each team is 4 players. There's a skinny guy, like a medium-sized guy and a fat guy you can choose from. The fat guy has a better slap shot. The skinny guy is faster, but his slap shot is awful. And the medium guy is kind of like a good mix of both. So I'd always do 2 fat guys, a skinny guy, and a medium guy. But yeah, it was just a lot of great memories playing that. There's a like kind of like an intermission where they do is it called a gazebo? No, Zamboni,
Oh yeah, yeah.
right? The
Definitely.
Zamboni, those guys come by and it's like maybe lasts for like 10 seconds after the second quarter. So, we'd be like, oh, let's go run and get a drink of water while the Zambonis are. So it was a lot of fun. And yeah, just I still play it today. I think it's a lot of fun.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a great pick. And one of the 17 launch titles, right? That was available at launch. If I believe, I think it was.
I believe so. I know it wasn't a black box title, so I don't know if it was directly a launch, but it was close to it at least.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah, yeah. I do remember playing it. Actually, one time my older brother Fernando put the lineup of all skinny guys, and it was just a madhouse, like how fast they were going. It was actually kind of fun to watch that.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that definitely was a really awesome highlighted game. For my number 10, I picked Tetris. So, Tetris, I would consider it to be probably the greatest puzzle game ever created. I mean, really fascinating, awesome game, developed by an American-Russian game developer by the name of Alexei Pajitnov. I probably butchered that name. Sorry. It was interesting to learn that I guess there was two different versions of Tetris that were developed for the NES. One by the gaming company Tekken, which was a subsidiary of Atari. But apparently Nintendo had the exclusive rights to doing a home console game. So after their version was released, it had to be, I guess, discontinued, and it was not on the market anymore. So if you got a hold of that Tenjin version of the game, that was actually maybe a pretty awesome collector's item. But regardless, though, I mean, Tetris is a blast to play. So much fun, so creative. The really great musical score. We're going to be talking about musical scores for a lot of these games. But
great music in Tetris. And Tenjin was a company that, if you ever see their cartridges, they're like black and like kind of pointed at the top. They got around the lockout chip by creating their own special cartridges. So, yeah.
Yeah, they also had a few other like notable games, Gauntlet and RC Pro-Am, if I'm not mistaken.
RC Pro-Am is not a Tenjin game.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
Another racing game I'm thinking of then.
Yeah, I don't know the entire Tenjin library, but there's kind of just some random ones that Tenjin made. So.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So Tetris, I mean, the real game changer for Tetris would have been the Game Boy version. To have that, awesome, great puzzle game on the palm of your hand would have been really cool. But I did enjoy the home console version too. That was definitely a really fun blast game to play. Everyone in my family enjoyed it. Like my older sister, who's not into gaming at all, she loved playing Tetris. So that was
nice.
a Pineda family game, favorite game for the Pineda family.
Cool. That's awesome. All right, number 9 might seem kind of low on some people's lists, but I have DuckTales.
Oh, very cool.
We never had it growing up, but I've played it a lot since. And the music, it's hard to talk about DuckTales without talking about the music, especially the moon level. I think it's one of the better soundtracks on the Nintendo. But yeah, Capcom did a lot of the Disney titles on the system, and a lot of them are really good, like Rescue Rangers, Darkwing Duck, DuckTales. A lot of great Disney games. But yeah, DuckTales is great. You play Scrooge McDuck, and you have like his cane pogo stick mechanic, where that's how you attack guys, and it's just a ton of fun. Shorter game, but it's just really well done. Great music.
Oh, awesome.
I like it a lot. So
very cool. Great pick. Okay, for me, I picked number 9, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out as my number 9 game. So
that's too low.
Definitely a huge fan favorite. I mean, really challenging, hard game. It was, one of the many games for Nintendo that I never actually beat. But the cast of characters was so much fun. I mean, when we talked about Mario before, the Mario movie, we also talked about I think the Captain N, the Game Master cartoon show. So the cartoon show is where the kid Kevin gets warped into video game land. He teams up with other video game characters and fights villains. King Hippo is one of the villains he has to fight, one of the henchmen from Mother Brain. So, so many memorable characters like Glass Joe, Piston Honda, Soro Popinski, Super Macho Man. Really great cast of characters. It was interesting to learn through my research that apparently the Punch-Out game existed in Japan beforehand, with the Mr. Dream character as the main antagonist, so the main fighter at the end, the end boss. But I guess the game did kind of poorly, so they really wanted to give it that extra celebrity credential, and they actually struck a licensing agreement with Mike Tyson, which was really cool. I mean, back then in the late 80s, I mean, there would have been no popular boxer than Mike Tyson at the time. But I always, in my mind, I envisioned that it was because of his scandal and the legal problems and the bad stuff that he was doing. That was the reason why they kind of removed him from the game. Technically, it had to do more with just the license expired. It was only a 3-year deal. So in 1990, Nintendo severed the licensing agreement, or didn't renew it with Mike Tyson. So if you had a copy of the original Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, that also I think would have been a collector's item as well. But such a blast to play. Awesome soundtrack. I mean, the song is so inspiring and fun, and Little Mac is such a likable character as the protagonist. So yeah, not enough great things I can say about Punch-Out. Just maybe the difficulty was a little too hard. But
yeah, I'll just since I think since you picked one on my list, I'll say it was my number 5.
Oh, okay.
And I'll just throw in, so there is 2 versions of it. Like you mentioned, there's Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Then when it the license ran out, they did make cartridges of, it's just called Punch Out, and they added Mr. Dream back as the end boss instead of Mike Tyson. But yeah, the game, it's very simple, but it's so fun. Each boss has its own special way to defeat them, and it's a puzzle game because you got to figure out how to beat them. And yeah, Little Mac is a great, cool character. And speaking of Mario, he plays the ref in the game.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
One
yeah,
of the many
yeah,
cameo appearances he's made in gaming, right?
yeah. Mario has had many, many jobs over the years. So,
Yeah.
but Mike Tyson's Punch Out, it's great. It's really fun.
Oh, very cool.
Now I'll go to my number 8. It's a game called Star Tropics. It's a Nintendo. It's licensed by Nintendo. I don't know if you've ever played it.
That one sounds familiar. Is that like a Zelda style, like a top view overworld game?
Kind of, yeah. So you play the character Mike, and you're visiting your uncle. Oh my gosh, you're visiting your uncle on an island that he's doing like research at, but he got like abducted by aliens, and you're trying to rescue him. And the really cool thing with that game, so it's like an RPG, but also a really cool thing, it came with a letter from your uncle, like inviting you out to the island and saying like, oh, I just got this recent discovery. But a part in the game, there's you have to enter a code, like to your computer, and there's a secret on the letter where if you dip it in water, it reveals the code, and then you enter it into the game. And so it was just really awesome to have, like, that a physical letter, you get to actually dip it in water, it reveals a code, and just like a cool interaction that you got to do. But the music's great. It's a very difficult game, but I just beat it this year for the first time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, it's very difficult, like a lot of Nintendo games, but it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I highly recommend it. But
Oh, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mean that's one I don't think I ever played, but even though I remember hearing about it, I was thinking of a game called Crystalis. Have you heard of that one?
oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, that one didn't make my top 10 proper, but that one was a fun game too, and it kind of reminded me of that same Zelda style.
Hmm.
But oh, very cool. Okay, so for my number 8, I picked Kung Fu. So Kung Fu, I thought was an absolute blast. That one was a launch title as well.
Yeah.
The design was very simple, but again, it was ported by or designed by Shigeru Miyamoto. So again, one of the titles that he did done. I guess his version, there was a version of Kung Fu in Japan before, but this was like almost like a complete like remake, or like I guess it was not just like a ported version, but I mean he essentially redeveloped it from scratch. Really fun to play. I mean, one of the first brawling fighting games in gaming history, which is also really cool. Again, the gameplay is pretty simple, but again, it's so much fun. And then me, Nathan, I'm a huge Karate Kid fan. The main protagonist of Thomas always reminded me of Daniel LaRusso. And then Mr. X, he also happened to be a blonde haired wearing a black gi. So he reminded me of Johnny Lawrence. So it was kind of like playing the Karate Kid on Nintendo, even though there was a Karate Kid game on Nintendo, which I don't remember being a very good game. But
no, it's much worse than Kung Fu. So
yeah, Kung Fu is definitely a blast to play. Yeah.
awesome. So my number 7 is actually there's a connection that we did an episode on this movie previously. It's Willow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's another RPG. It's made by Capcom. It's just really, really good. It's like a top-down overview, like Zelda. You get different, shields, swords, magic to use. I have 3 Capcom games on this list, and then Capcom has some of my favorite soundtracks from the Nintendo. So the music's really good. There is some music from the movie, but a lot of it, is unique to the game. But yeah, it's just you play as Willow, and you're just going through kind of. Obviously, they have to take some liberties to kind of like kind of stretch out the game, and also you fight a bunch of stuff that's not in the movie, obviously, but you do fight some stuff that is in the movie, and you get magic acorns that freezes enemies, just like the movie. And no, I love it. I highly recommend Willow. It's a really good RPG.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I do remember playing Willow as well with my family. That was a really cool one too. For my number seven, actually, that one I did pick DuckTales. So you already touched on DuckTales perfectly, so I won't really add much to it. What I would just say is that, I mean, as a kid back in the late 80s, I loved the DuckTales cartoon. It was so cool. When they did the live action movie, I mean, I was like probably there with my mom and brothers, like opening day to go see it. So to have a video game based on like my favorite cartoon back then was so cool. So yeah, DuckTales was a blast.
Awesome. This next one's probably not in a lot of I mean, probably not on a lot of people's list, but I have Skater Die 2.
Oh, okay.
I do love the first Skater Die, but Skater Die 2, so there's an adventure mode which I love. It's really hard, but it's kind of like, it's like more, it's not just like doing ramps and stuff, but there's also a vert ramp, and I may have put more time into the vert ramp of Skater Die 2 than like any other game. It's just a ton of fun. Me and my brothers and my friends would just go back, trade the controller back and forth of who could get the high score for hours. But the main adventure is a lot of fun. You're trying to save like the skate park from the city because skating gets banned in the city because the mayor's wife gets like ran over by someone on a skateboard. So the mayor bans skating in the city, and so you're trying to like save the skate park and stuff like that. But yeah, Skater Die 1 and 2 are both awesome, great soundtracks. It's a Konami game. But yeah, highly recommend them.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. Number two, I don't think I ever can't remember playing, but part one, yeah, Skater Die 1 was definitely a blast. That was a really awesome game too. For my number six, I picked a game that I think a lot of gamers probably would say should be in the top five, but it just barely didn't make my top five. It's not my number six. For my number six, I picked Metroid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Metroid, I think is absolute blast. I mean, the chilling atmosphere of a space adventure, like the musical score is fantastic. The protagonist, Simon Iran's one of the most iconic of gaming. I never actually beat the original as a kid. I did beat the Zero Mission remake that was on for the Game Boy Advance back in 2004. That was a blast to play too. That one was really fun. So I can't remember how I found out. I think it must have been like, schoolyard conversation on the playground. But everybody seemed to know that Samus Aran was in fact a woman, even though I think most people never actually completed the game. Or maybe if they did, I mean, it's possible that they maybe read about it in Nintendo magazine. But again, my understanding was it was pretty well known that Samus Aran was a woman. But again, she was definitely one of the best female protagonists in all of gaming. The chilling atmosphere, like the great weapons you get to use, the exploration. Yeah, everything about this game is fantastic.
Yeah, Metroid did not make my list just because I feel like now Super Metroid is probably one or two on Super Nintendo list. I feel like they made things a lot better, but yeah. So it depending on how you complete the game, you get an ending where she doesn't have her suit on, and you see that it's a female. Also, you can put in the code. It's Justin Bailey, I think it is, where you can play the whole game without Samus's suit on. So,
oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one where you get there's a specific mission they add to the game where you can actually see her play. So you have to do the mission without her suit, and you can tell she's wearing her bodysuit. And
yeah.
Actually, I mean, I'm sorry to cut you off, Nathan, but no. Even though Metroid I consider it to be a fantastic historical game in gaming, as an overall game, I actually think the Zero Mission is even better. But again, the NES games, I definitely want to put Metroid on my list. So
yeah, Zero Mission, it's the original game, but they just improve on a lot of things that have progressed in gaming that make games better. But so we're on number 5, right?
Yeah.
Okay, mine was Mike Tyson's Punch Out, which we already talked about. Do you want to do your number 5 then?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for my number 5, I picked Contra. So Contra, I think, was absolute blast to play. Super exciting and fun, like, alien inspired or even like action movies of the 80s inspired. In fact, the cover art, it really does resemble like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Like, I guess Arnold's character from Predator. Dutch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of looks like him, and then of course, obviously, it looks like a variation of Rambo behind him. So one of the best 2-player co-op games you'll ever play. So much fun. I mean, I played this game to death with my older brother Fernando, and then of course, developed by Konami, one of the best gaming developers out there, publishers. And again, it's the home, or I guess it wasn't the first game that featured the infamous or famous Konami code, but that Konami code's so cool. It's so recognizable. If you've ever played gaming, or if you've ever played any games, you have to be familiar with the code. But again, it's kind of one of those things that I guess maybe you heard about on the playground, or maybe it was published in Nintendo Magazine. This is before the internet, so it somehow became public knowledge of this code, even though I don't really remember how we knew about it.
Yeah, I think I just learned about it from my older brothers, but I'll say right now, Contra's my number 4.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, the spread gun is one of the best weapons in video game history, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The music is fantastic. I mean, it's music by Konami. Yeah, you have the Konami code, which gives you 30 lives. Nowadays I try to get as far as I can on just what they give you, and I think I've made it to like level 4 or 5. So I'm like slowly getting better. I know some people can beat it with no lives, but or like without dying, but I don't think I'll ever get that good. But no, Contra's a ton of fun. Yeah, if you put in the Konami code and have a buddy, you guys you can beat in about an hour and play through the whole thing, and it's just a ton of fun.
Oh,
yeah, very Alien Predator inspired. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a ton of a blast. Absolutely fun to play. And then while researching it, I discovered that I guess the Konami code's been used in so many different places for just random Easter eggs, which is kind of fun. So I want to try something here on the podcast, see if I can get this to work. So if you do like the Google Assistant asking about the Konami code, you actually get a response about it. So let me see if I can make this work on the podcast here. I've been practicing. Let's see if it actually turns out. Up, up, down, down, left, right, B, A, select, start.
The phrase up, up, down, left, right, B, A, start is the Konami code. It's a well-known cheat code that appeared in many video games, often giving players benefits like 30 lives in Contra or power-ups in Gradius.
Yeah, really cool stuff. I've heard that if you try it in certain areas, you can get like fun messages like that. Like if you're an iPhone user and you ask Siri about the code, I think she'll call you either a cheater or a nerd for knowing it. So little things like that. That's what I would recommend all my listeners. Like you try Siri, try Alexa, any like computer program or anything you can type in that code. Try typing it in and see what happens. So I think it's just ingrained into gaming history, really.
Yeah, and that's cool that when you said it, you do what I do. You say select start, which is 2-player.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I never used the code by myself because again, this was a favorite for Fernando and I especially. But I probably played with my younger brother Danny as well. So it'd always be in grade select start because we wanted to do 2-player. So
same. Yeah. So Contra's my number 4. So if you want to go to your number 4.
Oh, okay. For my number 4, I picked Mega Man 2. So again, this game was so amazing. Again, as you mentioned, Capcom developed. The first game was a blast too, but I remember that game being ridiculously hard. Like I couldn't really get past much of the bosses. For Mega Man 2, I think this is one of the best gaming soundtracks ever, particularly for the Airman level. I mean, that's just a total banger of a rock song. And then, of course, Woodman had a really cool theme song, too. So did Dr. Wily's first part of his Fortress stage. I thought that was excellent. The whole soundtrack's really great. But again, the gameplay is fantastic. I mean, we talked about the spread gun being one of the best in Contra. The metal blades that you get from Metal Man is so awesome as well. Being able to shoot out metal blades in every direction that you need to, diagonal, forward, behind you. The also like the hoverboard that you can get, or like the various like other upgrades you can get from Dr. Light to improve the Mega Man character. So much fun. This game is just a blast to play.
Yeah, Mega Man series is my favorite series on the Nintendo. I love all of them. I don't have 2 on my list.
Oh, okay.
I have a different one.
Okay.
We'll get to that. We'll get to it. But yeah, Flashman level is amazing. I think that's one of the best songs.
Mm-hmm.
All the stages have great songs. But yeah, Mega Man 2 is great. I can beat it fairly fast now, but it improved a lot on the first one. The first one is probably my least favorite, just for, like you said, the difficulty. The Yellow Devil is one of the worst,
Yeah.
one of the most annoying bosses. If you want to look up a video of the Yellow Devil, it is, if you watch someone play it and they can beat it fine, you're like, oh, that doesn't look too bad. But if you try it, it's infuriating. But anyways, yeah, Mega Man 2 is great. A lot of fond memories of that game. Played it tons of times. So
Oh, very
great pick.
cool. Yeah.
Great pick.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And then one other thing I would mention, Mega Man was also one of your buddies, one of your companions in the Captain N Game Master cartoon show. So he'd be
Oh yeah.
and along with the other teammates you had were Simon Belmont from Castlevania, Kid Icarus from Kid Icarus, Mega Man, and there might have been another one. And then of course the princess, who I think she was from the Kid Icarus game, if I'm not mistaken, Princess Lana.
I
I could
can't.
be mistaken, maybe which game she was from, but
Yeah, I can't remember what the princess in Kid Icarus is, but
yeah, okay. So what did you have for your you're on number 4 now, right? You're number 4.
no, Contra is my number four.
Oh, that's right.
So
Sorry. Okay, you're number 3.
okay, now we're getting into the creme de la creme. I have number 3 as Legend of Zelda.
Awesome, awesome.
Um, Tons of fun playing this game. I hadn't beaten it until I think it was like 2016. I finally beat it. When I was younger, I was just, I'd get to like level 6 is where it ramps up in difficulty a lot. But I mean, it's just the iconic now Legend of Zelda. There's so many sequels that are. I could probably just have like my favorite games of all time could just be like a top 10 of Zelda games.
Mhm.
A lot of them are just excellent, and the original was just so unique and original, where you could use the candle to uncover secrets in with the burning of the bushes. You could bomb for caves for secrets. It's just you get a new weapon in each of the dungeons. Uh, there's just so many things, innovative things in the game that we had just never seen before in a video game, and it's iconic soundtrack. It's just a ton of fun. It's a near perfect game.
Oh, awesome. Very cool. We'll touch on Zelda just a little bit more when it's my turn. That's actually my number 2, but we'll come back to the Zelda.
Cool.
But for my number 3, I picked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game. So also, just like DuckTales, I was a hardcore Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan. Like the cartoon show was a blast. The first game was really cool, but again, the dam level was so frustrating and difficult. It just killed me. But the arcade game, the port of the arcade game, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 was so much fun. Because again, co-op games are a blast. So I remember playing this game often with my brothers. The NES port actually featured 2 new levels that weren't in the arcade port of the game, which was pretty cool. So you get a little bit more bang for your buck. But yeah, so much fun to play. Only 2 players. Again, that's all it would have had the capacity to do on the NES at the time. But yeah, so if you're a Turtles fan, I mean, this was like gaming heaven to play this particular game. Even though I do think brawler Ninja Turtle games in the future would get even better. In fact, I would probably pick Turtles in Time as the best brawler for Ninja Turtle games. But yeah, part 2 was a blast. Again, great soundtrack as well. As developed by Ultra Games, which I only recently discovered was a subsidiary of Konami too. Because I guess the Nintendo had a rule. Maybe you know about this, Nathan. That I guess developers can only do a certain amount of games, and in order to get around that, sometimes they would create another company that, okay, if Konami hit their quota, then okay, then they can do under the Ultra Games banner and do more games that way. So, but yeah, Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, was so much fun, such a blast. And one other bit of trivia that I thought was pretty cool, they had a licensing agreement with Pizza Hut. So you would see Pizza Hut advertisements throughout the game, which was so cool to me, but also kind of unusual because at the same time, you had the live action Ninja Turtles movie, which actually had, I think, a licensing agreement with Domino's. So you had 2 competing pizza franchises, and one in the movie, one in the video game, which I thought was kind of funny. But
And didn't the game come with a coupon for a pizza? Is
it
that
did, yeah.
yeah? Yeah. No. Yeah. Ninja Turtles is great. It's a really great pick. So.
Oh, thank you. Very cool.
All right. My number two is Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, awesome.
I think it's the best of the Mario Brothers on the Nintendo. It, once again, it's just so many secrets, excellent music, great levels, such unique levels. You got the whistle to, so you can warp. I just beat it for, maybe like the fifth time this year. I like to do it without using the whistle. I collect the whistles, but I don't use them. But yeah, I went through every level. It does get very difficult on the eighth world, where you're like in. It almost looks like you're in hell, but just there's like a bunch of fire and skulls. But I guess you're in Bowser's, uh, land or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, Super Mario Bros. 3 is it's considered, one of the best Mario games, if not, a lot of people have it top on their list. I might put Super Mario World slightly above it. But no, it's a great game, and to have that great tie-in with the movie The Wizard, where they first showcased it. And yeah, Super Mario Brothers 3 is just a ton of fun. Really good. It's a classic.
Oh, amazing pick. Yes, that's actually what I picked as my number one. So I'm actually gonna be very curious to see what you picked for your number one now. But so I'm gonna go back to Zelda just for a little bit, and then we'll
Oh
finish
yeah.
our number one. So really cool. I mean, you talked about the innovation of the game. It was really cool that it had the internal batteries. It was like one of the first games to ever have.
Yes.
So you didn't have to use a password or anything like that to you could just it'll save your progress as you will go. So I mean, for an adventure epic scale like that, I mean, it was like a no-brainer to have to use that, which was really, really cool. Again, gaming masterpiece developed by Shigeru Miyamoto again. But I learned from my research, apparently he partnered with a gentleman named Takashi Tezuka. I never heard that name before, but he was actually just as instrumental for Nintendo's success as Miyamoto, which is pretty cool. And it was also cool to learn that Tezuka, apparently he was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. So he wanted to do like a fantasy-based style game. And he was actually the one who wrote the script and a lot of the plot points for the Zelda game, whereas Miyamoto served as the producer of the game. So again, so many awesome, fascinating aspects with the Zelda franchise. I can go all night talking about how much I love Zelda. But and then one other random fact I'll bring up, which is pretty well known, but a lot of in case people didn't know this, Hollywood favorite celebrity Robin Williams named his daughter after Zelda because he was such a big fan of the game. He was a well-beloved actor during this time. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore, but that was cool to learn that. And they even starred in a Zelda commercial together, which was pretty cool.
The first time I saw you, I knew we'd be linked forever. For you, I traveled to the four corners of the world. I faced adversity. I became a hero.
Dad.
I saved your kingdom.
Dad.
Yes, Zelda?
Are you mixing me up with the princess again?
Hard to say. You're both pretty magical.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I knew that he named his daughter Zelda, but I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I kind of forget every so often, but no, yeah, Zelda's a great pick. So that was your number.
That's my number
two.
2. Super Mario
Yes.
Bros. 3 is my number 1. So I'll touch on some more on Super Mario Bros. 3 after you've unveiled your number 1 right now. So
All right. My number one is. I always say it's interchangeable for my top 3 games of all time.
Mhm.
It's Mega Man 4, which
okay.
might be unusual for people usually say 2 or 3, which are both great. But I love Mega Man 4. I have so many great memories of playing that with my friends. Friday nights, we'd have sleepovers. We would try to get as far as we could. If like we were getting stuck, we'd have my brothers come in and they'd play for a while. To get past certain levels. I love the music. Ringman and Skullman have great music. You should Everyone should listen to the Skullman soundtrack. It's really, really good. But yeah, I love Mega Man 4. It's just one of my favorite games of all time, and I think it's you know peak Mega Man. So.
Oh, very cool. Do you know where can you catch Mega Man 4 now? I mean, do you have to have the old school Nintendo, or are you able to get it in a virtual console or like a download somewhere?
So all the Mega Man games, I think you can play them on every system. Like you buy a collection, it's like 1 through 6,
Oh, okay, okay.
or and I think you can get on the Switch, PS5, Xbox. I recommend the Switch or the PS5 because they have better D-pads, and
Yeah.
uh, you know, NES games are a lot better with a D-pad than a joystick, just for more accurate controls. Because it was made with a D-pad, cross in mind, so it's a lot better if you use a D-pad. But yeah, you could get, and they go on sale sometimes. Like you can get 1 through 6 for like $10 probably.
Oh, very cool. I'll have to look into that. Because actually, I don't think I ever played 4. Like, I mean, as I mentioned, I love part 2. I remember playing 3, but again, 3 I thought was cool, but didn't really catch my interest as much as 2. And then I think 4 I kind of skipped over altogether and just kind of I don't know do you remember when it was released? Like 91 or 92 or
Yeah, probably around there. I want to say 4, 5, and 6 are probably my favorites
Oh
on
wow,
the
okay.
Mega Man series.
Okay.
I have all three of those complete in box. So
Oh, okay.
and
I can't think. I can't help but think that also when the SNES launched, when the Super Nintendo launched, I think that by that time we kind of like abandoned NES in favor of Super Nintendo. So I think anything that came out after 91, I don't know if we were playing as much. That might have been why I missed part 4. But
yeah, yeah, it's kind of funny so we would get tons of Nintendo games from like my brother's friends. Like we would borrow them, and they would move on to different systems, and so we kind of just inherited them. Like, hey, can we borrow these games? They're like, oh yeah, sure. And then either they stopped being friends with them or they just didn't want them back. So yeah, I have over like 100 games, and I think maybe half of them are actually ours. Like the other ones we kind of borrowed and never returned. So
mhm.
yeah.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so we'll finish off with my number 1, which again, as previously mentioned, is Super Mario Brothers 3. I mean, you've already painted a great picture. I mean, it's just I would consider it the best NES Mario game, even though I think I do agree with you that maybe the best Mario game, period, maybe is Super Mario World. But again, yeah, Super Mario Bros. 3 was fantastic. I mean, first released in Japan, like in '88. We get the Wizard movie in December of '89. Then, of course, like
Hmm.
a few months later is when it actually released in North America. So I can't remember exactly, but again, the way it's being reported is that when it appeared in the movie The Wizard, it was kind of being like its first introduction to the North American audience, right?
Yes.
Wow. Ladies, gentlemen, children, siblings, animals. This is the day that our 3 contestants in 15 minutes will fight for 50,000 smackaroos! Now, I am really gonna bring you out. They are gonna have to play a game that they have never, ever played before.
New game?
In 15 minutes, you get to your station!
What? A new game? You didn't say there'd be a new game!
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 contestants. 1, 2, 3! So I give you Super Mario Brothers 3!
Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, so I remember watching the movie in theaters and thinking it was really, really cool, but I couldn't remember if that was actually our first look. Like, in my mind, I was thinking maybe there was like an article about it in Nintendo Power or something like that. But
Yeah, as far as I know and what I've read is that was like the big reveal. Like that whole movie is basically a long commercial, like a Hollywood movie commercial for Nintendo, because
Yeah.
the games and system pop up of people playing them throughout the movie. So
Oh yeah. Super Mario Bros. 3 was awesome. It was a blast. And then it also had its own really cool cartoon show, the Super Mario Bros. 3 show. But then what I love also about the game is that it introduces the Koopa kids, so then their personalities, how
oh
eccentric
yeah,
and crazy they are. And because I was researching this and I was reflecting back on how much I love the game and the cartoon show, I was reminded of a random episode when we have Wendy Koopa, so King Koopa's daughter, back when he was known as King Koopa, not Bowser. And I guess she was in love with Milli Vanilli, so she kidnapped him. And it was it was after the scandal had broke, the lip syncing scandal. But I think to produce a cartoon TV show, I think it takes several months. So I guess they went forward with showing the episode, even though I guess they're on the verge of losing their popularity because of what happened. But
blame it on the rain. Blame it on King Koopa.
Whoa! What an exit! Didn't I tell you they were great? Oh no! It can't be!
There's only one sneaky, two-faced reptile who laughs like that.
This is terrible! Milli Vanilli has been coopnapped!
Oh, we get to Castle Koopa in time. Maybe we can save him. Let's warp!
Hi, boys! I've been expecting you.
Hey, who's behind this Mondo Bizarro joke? We've got a concert to play.
Not so fast! You're playing for me now. I really dig your dreadlocks.
Well, I don't dig tails and scaly lips.
I'll have you know I am a royal reptile, and I command you to play a private concert for me this instant!
And if we don't?
I'll turn you into accountants!
Accountants? That is a good one. No! We're nuts! We're dweebs! This is terrible. You turn us back to normal people right now.
Never! You have to do what I want!
it's so random, but it's so funny that she would kidnap Milli Vanilli because the Mario Brothers and Princess Toadstool were going to a concert, and she wanted to spoil their fun because she wanted a private concert with them.
that's funny.
But Nathan, this has been a blast. It's been so much fun for me to look back on gaming history and reflect on my favorite NES games, and to hear some of your picks too, which was really cool.
Yeah, I always enjoy talking about Nintendo and video games, and hearing different people's top 10 lists, because they're the Nintendo library. I think it's over 300 games. There's it might even be more than that. I can't remember off the top of my head, but and back then you kind of just maybe got 2 to 3 games a year. You got one for your birthday, Christmas, and maybe some other special holiday or something.
Mm-hmm.
But you would play those to death. So people usually had anywhere from 10 to 20 games that they really grew up playing. So it's nice to hear what what each person kind of grew up playing, and what were their games that they had, even though there's a lot of that are in common with Zelda and Mario that everyone had. So but it's really cool to hear everyone's unique list. So
you bring up an excellent point, because I mean, that was, you reflect back to the heyday of Blockbuster Video. So you would go and rent a game because it was really difficult to throw down I don't know, 50 or 60 bucks even back then to actually purchase one. So you would rent a game, you would have it for several days, and if you liked it, you would rent it again. And if it was something you really, really enjoyed, that would be the one that you would actually purchase and get to keep permanently in your library. But like you mentioned, I mean, there's so many NES games that I played, but at the same time, there's probably a ton of games I never got around to actually playing. But again, to think back and reflect on, yes, these are my 10 favorites, even though there were so many other games I could have added to the list because they were just so much fun to play.
Yeah. And there's probably some of the games I picked, there's probably better games, but this is our own personal list. I have we have with personal memories and personal enjoyment that makes them unique. So
Yeah, so and as we mentioned before, I mean, again, gaming is such an awesome part of our childhood, even into adulthood. It's so much fun. It's uh, a really awesome hobby to get into. Drew, I don't play as much today anymore with family responsibilities, but actually, just randomly tonight we were playing Mario Party on the Switch, so that was pretty fun.
oh, nice. Yeah, I mean uh, it's something you can do together as a family, and Mario Party is like a playing a board game together, but you don't have to set it up or and then take put it away. You just kind of and can even like save your progress and then continue back to the game later. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So again, this was so much fun for me just to reflect back on old NES games. And it really wants me to, it's inspiring me to say, hey, a lot of these games I should pick up and replay again. And some of them have been remade into HD remakes, like the DuckTales HD remake was really fun.
yeah,
They
it was
actually had
really
the
good.
voice actors to the game itself. So
Yeah, that was a really great remake. I replayed that again a few years ago, and I'm like, oh, I forgot how good this remake was. So
oh, very cool. Yeah. So anything else you want to discuss or bring up with Nintendo?
no, I don't think so. I think, I mean, there's more we could talk about, but no, that's a really good starting point. I will recommend one YouTuber. His name's the Gaming Historian,
Oh, I've
and
heard of him. Yeah. Yeah.
he talks about a lot of like specific games. He talks about like the Game Boy or like the Virtual Boy, kind of like unique things about Nintendo, and like kind of milestone games. But yeah, he's really good, the Gaming Historian. So
Oh, very cool. I have to definitely check that out. Well, Nathan, thanks again for giving me your time tonight. Talking games is always a blast, and I'm grateful I had the chance to talk about it with you and to reflect back on these games from the past. So thank you so much. Appreciate it.
thank you.
Okay, so we'll catch you again next time here on the Casting for Fun podcast. Thanks, everybody.